Imagine finally losing all of the fat and actually keeping it off. All of this without starving yourself, without killing yourself with all of these workouts, and without suffering. The truth is, most people lose weight on a diet, but the real problem, they gain it all back. In fact, studies show that 95% of all dieters regain the weight. This isn't some extreme diet. This is the fastest, safest way to actually lose the weight and keep it off for good without gaining it all back in the end. I've been a trainer for 10 years and I've used this exact method to help hundreds of my clients lose thousands of pounds and not just lose the weight, but actually keep it off for good. So let's break it down. Okay, so first we're going to talk about fat loss on autopilot, and I really believe that's what this is. The problem is that most people, they rely on motivation. They rely on that boost of energy in order to do something that's kind of exciting. Motivation eventually runs out. Building routines is what makes fat loss automatic because it's built into your life, and that's what we're going to be doing here. So routines are the secret to easy fat loss. Think of a pilot flying a plane. If they had to manually control everything, like they were sitting there almost like driving a car, looking around everywhere and making sure that everything was clear, that would exhaust them. I'm sure a lot more plane crashes would happen because they were trying to pay attention to all of these little details. But they use autopilot, at least for, I mean, I don't really understand how it all works, but at least for a good chunk of it, they use autopilot, and it keeps the plane on track without consistent or constant effort that would drain them down. That is exactly what routines do for fat loss. So some routine ideas, but you can go past this, but make these like habits that are part of your life. So your wake up time. This is something I work on with my clients. I set a consistent wake up time every day so that my body gets into a rhythm. Even on weekends, do your best to get close to like within an hour of that typical go to bed and wake up time. When you wake up at different times every day, your body feels a little bit sluggish. I'm sure you've experienced this, and you're more likely to skip workouts whenever you feel a little bit tired or sluggish. And I don't know if, this is just me, but sometimes I'll actually sleep in longer, get more rest, and still feel, sluggish. And I just wonder if it's that breaking of that routine and that pattern. So whenever you're sluggish, you're more likely to grab junk food, definitely out of convenience. So set up a wake up time, get some sort of structure that allows you to stay consistent with when you wake up, when you go to the gym, things like that. Speaking of when you go to the gym, that would be the next thing is if you are in the routine of going to the gym after work, then make sure to go to the gym after work. Have your gym bag ready, pack things like that. I treated my workouts like important meetings, same time, same day, every week. It literally was the same. And it is the same, I guess I should say. When you have a set workout schedule, there is no debate. Should I go? Should I not go? This is my schedule. Put it in your calendar, literally schedule it. That consistently keeps you progressing because it's really the consistency of being in the gym that is the big thing that's going to, impact your weight loss. Meal timing is the last one. This isn't as important, I don't think, but it is something that some people really, really benefit from it. So consider it for yourself. Eating meals at roughly the same time each day, not exactly, but it helps regulate your hunger and your cravings. You'll notice you actually start to get hungry at a time rather than for cravings or whatever. So if you eat sporadically, there we go. If you eat sporadically, it's just kind of you could track it and that could totally be fine, but it starts to feel more like grazing. Our goal with that one is to just eliminate impulse eating and eat more like I plan to eat here and this is how much I'm going to eat. Now you don't have to overly think it too much there. Just have a basic schedule, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and I have a snack after dinner, or breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner, and then, I'm done. Whatever, something like that to keep a basic schedule going. But routines mean nothing unless you're doing things in the right way that prevent burnouts. That's what we're going to talk about next. Our goal with the E is to train. So we had the R, that was routines. Our goal with the E is to train smarter, not harder. And I know that's a cliche statement, but it is true in this regard, especially if you just simply train harder, you're going to crash and burn. So most people think that more exercise or harder exercise means more fat loss. And if you have subscribed to this channel, you're going to be seeing a video that I'm releasing soon that is about 25,000 steps per day in order to lose weight for a week. I'm telling you, this is not sustainable. That is just doing more. It's a fun video. It's a fun kind of challenge, but it is certainly not something that I would recommend. And that falls into this tip where training smarter, not harder is not what's happening with that video. So the right workouts, the right style of exercise is what is going to help you burn fat while keeping muscle. And that's the training smarter, not necessarily harder part. So the E is for exercise. Exercise is like a multiplier for fat loss. It certainly isn't the thing that's going to take you the most time throughout the day. That's going to be more the diet side of things and the movement side of things. But instead of doing hours of cardio and increasing the amount, which, most people think is key, we need to be losing fat while keeping the muscle. And so that's what's changed my body, and that's what's really helped me, unlock that next level, is the keeping of the muscle and even the building of the muscle. So the things that I did to change, instead of just doing more exercise, is training closer to failure. So on my weightlifting sets or resistance training, you can use any type of, body weight or whatever, but getting close to failure, getting into those, I call them sticky reps, where, rep 1 is a certain speed, rep 2, rep 3, rep 4, and then let's say it's like rep 12, and it's kind of like grinding through. Whenever you start to see that bar kind of grind through the range of motion, that's whenever you know that you're getting close to failure, and I think whenever you're working out hard enough. I also adapted my workouts. Whenever I couldn't get to the gym, I would use like Olympic rings at home, and I'm actually going to start doing that a lot more. A lot more videos like that are going to be coming up on my channel, and that's a way of training smarter. If instead of, plan in the future of, okay, if I can't make it to the gym, what am I going to do? Because there are going to be times, snow or whatever, that you're not going to be able to make it to the gym. The other little bit with training smarter is making sure to progressively overload. So always asking yourself, am I ready for the next level? If I wasn't getting stronger, then I knew that your goal during a weight loss program should at least be to keep your strength. And if you're relatively new to this, you will be getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So don't sell yourself short. Always be looking for, am I ready for that next level? If you do 15 reps at 15 pounds, ask yourself if you're ready for, 20. Sorry, did I say 15 reps? If you're doing 15 reps at 15 pounds, ask yourself if 20 pounds is now necessary in order to get you, to stay at those 15 reps or 12 reps or whatever. Stay somewhere in that 10 to 15 rep range, and always be asking yourself, am I strong enough for the next level? But exercise only accounts for 10% of our daily calorie burn. So we need something else to kind of set that next level, and that's going to be the S in reset. I call this the invisible workout that melts fat. It really does, because it doesn't feel like, it's not a workout, so it doesn't feel like a workout. Most people sit all day and don't realize how much that slows their metabolism. They don't realize how much they're sitting all day. There's studies that have been done on people who are overweight and obese, and they almost always underestimate their calories by something like 25, 30, sometimes 40%. The more overweight a person was, the worse that number was. That kind of makes sense. But they underestimated their movement, their calorie burn, by like 60%. So people think they're much more active than they are. And it makes sense because, it's kind of, I guess, based off where you're starting from. The solution here is to turn movement into something so easy that you don't even think about it, or like so scattered throughout your day that you don't even think about it. Not like a direct, I'm going to get 10,000 steps a day by walking right now 10,000 steps, but making it, to where you walk more throughout the day. So steps are your silent fat burner. It's kind of like you're charging your phone. Your workouts, it's like plugging in for an hour. It's quick and effective. It'll kind of give you a boost, but it's not going to be the majority of what charges the phone. Steps are like running a wireless charger in your pocket while you're walking around. So it's slower. Maybe those wireless chargers are a bit slower, but it never stops, and by by 3-4 hours or whatever, your phone is fully charged. I don't know if those are accurate timelines, but the point here is that even though something might be a little bit slower minute by minute, it ends up being a whole lot more calories. First, it doesn't seem like much, but by the end of the day, you've burned way more calories. And you're going to see that in my 25,000 step video. It is just crazy the amount of weight loss that I'm having right now. And it's not something that I even want to continue past the week. I don't want to be losing weight this fast. That's literally how much weight I'm losing. So whenever you've burned so many calories, you never feel like, with steps, it doesn't feel like I'm working out, and I'm not actually doing nearly as long of workout. So it kind of makes sense. So for me, how I found this, and this can help you, is I increased my steps by 1,000 per week until I couldn't really sustain it. And I found that was like 14,000, or 15,000 wasn't sustainable. So 14,000 was sustainable. But even if, if for you that's 8,000, that's going to make a huge difference if you're used to walking something like 5,000. So it really just matters where you're at. So don't take my number and feel like you have to go for 14,000. You certainly don't. I also eat a whole lot in order, like even while losing weight. So, I feel hungry all the time because of those steps. I'm not saying I feel hungry. That sounds bad. I'm not saying you're going to feel hungry by increasing your steps like all the time, but I'm just saying that I tend to eat more, probably because I'm so active. So don't worry about it if you can't get up to 14. That's what I'm saying. I chose steps and walking, and then I'm going to be showing you some other stuff on the channel that I'm really excited for in the future. But I chose low impact movement because running kills my nerves, and I have a nerve issue with my lower legs, so it just kills my nerves. So low impact is definitely the way to go for me. And then walking while on phone calls, walking while watching TV, if there was a game on or something, pacing during the game, marching in place, or anything in order to get more steps. Those are the tricks that I use. Parking in the back of the parking lot's obvious, going upstairs instead of taking the elevator, things like that. It really adds up, and you can do it. I just want to encourage you in that. But obviously, movement is not enough. If your nutrition isn't dialed in, none of this will matter. It literally will not make a difference for you. So the E is a full stomach, lean body formula. That is the goal here, is to have a full stomach while getting lean. Most people try to eat less, but they end up getting hungry and give up. I mean, obviously, hunger is the main drive that causes a person to give up. So eating in a way that keeps you full and satisfied and burning fat all day long, that is going to be the key for you. That's going to be the solution. Our goal here is to make it feel like you're eating more than ever while actually losing weight. Imagine dieting like driving a car on an empty tank of gas or a low tank of gas. Low calories, crash diets, that's like running on fumes. You'll feel it. I'm sure you've been there before. And you won't get that far down or that far into the program without, breaking down the car. Smart eating is like fueling up with premium gas. You're going to go further. It's going to be a full tank. Smooth sailing. Fat loss isn't about starving yourself. It's about eating the right foods. And so protein is the main thing that I use. Protein and fiber is the main things, but still it's the protein that keeps you full. And that's going to be in my cookbook. I'm going to talk about that now, but I focused on high protein meals for my cookbook. It's totally free. Link in the description. Pinned comment. People have really been loving it. I need to add more meals because I haven't added new meals, but I'm doing a future video on that, so there will be new ones in there. But the fiber and the protein, it curbs cravings. It makes you feel full. Some of these meals just take so long to eat. There's so much food for the calories that you're getting. So it fills you up without getting those extra calories. Me personally, I meal prep everything. The cookbook has meal prep size meals, so it'll make 9, 10, 11 meals. You do a couple of those, you got your food for the week. If it was ready for me to pull out of the fridge, then that's whenever, I knew I was most prepared in order to not grab junk food. But the key is it's not just prepared food. You could do that with chicken. Just make a bunch of chicken, put it in the fridge. That doesn't seem to get a person's attention whenever they're in a craving. It's that it's really good food, And I mean, some of this stuff, the protein mac and cheese, for instance, it's delicious. And so I think it's just a super awesome hack. I also use calorie-free hacks. So diet soda, nothing wrong with that. Curbing your sweet tooth a little bit. Flavored water, sugar-free gum. Anything like that, just to entertain your chewing muscles so that you're like kind of tricking your body into, hey, let's let this craving pass instead of giving into it. Even if you eat perfectly, you won't keep the weight off unless you think long term. So the last one is thinking long term. It's the key to never gaining it back. And this is, if you diet, no matter how effective your diet is, and at the very beginning of the video, I presented this as the problem. If you gain it all back, what was the point? You suffered for all of that for nothing. So we have to solve this issue. And I think, this is how you're going to do it. I focused on building habits, and I focus with my clients on building habits that last forever. Most people treat fat loss like a sprint, and they have a goal to get to in 3 months or 5 months or something like that. But it really is a marathon. I know that's not, always fun to hear, but the thing is, it will be so much faster if a person loses weight over the course of a year versus another one loses weight over the course of 4 months. But the one that lost weight over the course of 4 months ends up gaining it all back. The one that lost weight over a year went way faster. So for me, some tricks that, made it more consistent so that I could make adjustments and stuff was weighing myself daily. Not to obsess, but to look at patterns. It's so much easier to see a pattern and to let individual weigh-ins mean nothing whenever you have a lot of weigh-ins to look at. So if you weigh in that day and it's really high or it's really low, just know that's probably a false weigh-in. That's probably water weight being manipulated. The thing that is true is if you zoom out to a month and 3 months and you see your entire graph and you see, oh, my pattern is down. Even if this weight is a little bit up here, I must be doing the right thing. So I'm going to keep doing the right things. And being able to adjust throughout your journey like that, that is a habit that is going to be game-changing for you in order to keep that weight off. If your weight loss stalls during this time, you just lower your calories slightly or increase your steps slightly or increase your cardio slightly. So, you could do a little bit of each of those, and that's really going to make a difference in your total calorie, in-out net calories, and you're going to be losing weight again. And so that's why taking your weight every single day helps, because you can see that pattern within a week, 2 weeks. I wouldn't actually probably recommend a week. I'd probably recommend at least like 10 days of saying, oh, okay, my weight loss has stalled. Some other long-term habits, and this goes right in with what I was just talking about. So really, maybe it's the same point here, but you're going to have events come up. The Super Bowl is going to happen again. A birthday is going to happen again. A wedding's going to happen again. And you're going to have weight spikes. But just, let yourself enjoy that meal and then move on. and look at the pattern. Again, it's all about that pattern. And if the pattern is down, then you're going to be just fine, I promise. I'm sure that you've lost a bunch of weight before, probably. And what derailed you? Think back to that. If you've attempted weight loss multiple times, what derailed you? It was probably a thing. It was probably an event or a season. I got sick, and for a week I, ate like crap, and that's what sent me, or whatever. It was like a small moment in time compared to this long journey. It just meant nothing. If you just would have moved on from it, it would have meant nothing. But the diet is tricky, and I think I need to go into more detail about it. So even though we went over it a little bit in this detail, I go over much more in detail about it right here in the best diet to lose weight and actually keep it off. And so go ahead and check out that video now if you want to.